Well, hello to everybody and welcome once again. I've got a little something. I'm inside a Starbucks and I'm still in Orlando. I've got a lot of great things that are happening, and yeah, things always change, and there's surprises and things that we don't expect. Some positive, some negative. It's a kind of like a little roller coaster. But this week was a really good week for myself and Jasmine, and of course for Eve, our dog, right? But as you see, I'm shooting right now on my iPad, the camera on my iPad, because I wanted to show you the rig that I am using to record, and I wanted to sort of break it down for you guys so that you can understand that you don't really need a whole and a huge rig to be able to do these type of vlogs or these types of content, however you want to call it, and however you want to see it, right? So anyways, as you know, first of all, as you know, okay, I've been shooting on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I've added a couple of things to it, okay, and I'm going to introduce you to them. To begin with, this is my iPhone 16 Pro Max. All right, so what you're looking at here this is the tripod that I use. It was a tripod that I bought on a used vintage camera place. It is made by Yashica, as you can see there. All right, and it's pretty cool because the way that it works is just awesome. And I'm going to break it down a little bit so you can see. You can actually remove these legs. It's a tabletop tripod. It is very well built, but when I remove these legs here, as you can see right here, all right, these legs, you can actually bend them. I'm trying to do this with two hands, right? One holding the camera and one holding the legs. You can see, okay, it actually bends down, and it closes up actually, as you can see here. It closes up very nicely. And what you do, okay, is to store it. You take this right here. Let me kind of put it a little bit better because it's not. There you go. Okay, it's better. So you put this here into this little hole right there. All right, you put it right there. See? Okay, it goes right in. All right, and it screws in. So it's kind of like, this is the storage place for it, right? And so now this becomes an actual grip, okay? And I've added this Pro Master hand grip to it, and so what we have is a very simple setup where I put my hand here, all right, so it doesn't fall, my phone doesn't fall, and I hold my phone with what you see right here. Now I can also adjust it here, and I'm going to break it down so you guys can see. All right, and so now I've got more of a vlogging scenario, as you can see right here. It's a very nice vlogging scenario. Now, you see this little funny thing here? Okay, this little funny thing here that you see is actually a mag adapter, which creates and gives the opportunity for the phone to actually mount 67 millimeter filters or lenses, right? So what I use it for is I use it to mount this particular filter, which is the let me see if I can get it so you can see it. As you can see there, it's the Carl Zeiss, the T, okay, Carl Zeiss. It is a POL, that stands for a Polaroid filter. You can see it right there. It's a Polaroid filter. Okay, it's a circular 67 millimeter, and that is actually, it does a lot of things, okay, and later in another video I'll explain to you how to use the polarizer. But what's nice about this setup is, let me show you, if I need to use the phone, it's magnet, okay, I just take it off and there's my phone, there's my 16 Pro, you see that? Okay, so this little thing, okay, covers the lenses right here, okay, and it just snaps in place. It's a magnet and it's really strong. Your phone is not going to go anywhere. All right, it's got a hot shoe on the top so that you can put, let's say, a microphone or anything else that you want to add to it. In this case, I don't have anything on here except for the filter the actual mount itself, and on the bottom it has a screw in, so you can screw it into a tripod, okay, like the one that I have here. And this is all you need. This is as simple as you need. Now, some of you guys are saying, well, you need to add an external hard drive. Well, you do if what you bought as a 16 Pro Max is a 256 gig or a 512. This is not. This is a bigger one. This is the 1 terabyte. So people say, well, yeah, but you're gonna spend so much money. But you spend a little extra money, but it goes a long way, because now your hard drive is inside the phone. So that's one less thing that you have to put on the phone, which means, because now you don't have to put that hard drive, it is easier to mount on a gimbal, because gimbals have a weight capacity that you can actually use for certain gimbals. And certain gimbals, most of them as a matter of fact, don't have a huge weight capacity, which means that if you start adding a whole bunch of stuff, it's not going to be able to support it. This setup that I have here, okay, any gimbal will support, because this is very lightweight and you're just putting the filter on. Now, the filter makes a big difference when this polarizing filter makes a big difference, all right, in a lot of scenarios. Now, a lot of you guys are recommending to use an ND filter. Yes, that is true up to a certain extent. An ND filter is definitely a way to go, but it's not the only way to go. In my scenario, I use the polarizer because the polarizer does two things. First one is it cuts on UV, which means that in certain scenarios, I can look right through a window, a glass, all right, and I can see where a normal camera will not be able to capture it because there is reflections to it. I can adjust my filter to physically be able to see through the glass and film what is inside, that room, home, display, whatever you want to call it. All right, so that's one advantage for it. The second one, it is actually, okay, some UV filters will also actually lower your stop, probably usually like about maybe 2 stops, 1 stop, 2 stops, okay? And that's also within itself sort of an ND filter, although it is not really an ND filter. It also does that function. Now, the most important thing, all right, is color shifting, right? Sometimes, and most of the times, when you put a filter, once you add that filter, your shot, your video shot, will have what we call a different color, right? And that is due to the glass changing that color. So what happens is, if you're shooting a certain scene or a certain scenario, or a certain project, right? What happens is, all right, so let's say now I'm shooting it and I have to use the filter, all right, but now I don't need to use the filter, so I take off the filter, and as soon as I take off the filter, because I don't need the filter, it's going to produce a different color that you need to correct in post-production. I don't believe in doing anything as far as color correction in post. All right, I try to do everything and everything as much as I can right straight from the camera, or just in this case the phone. The phone in this case, because I'm using Blackmagic app, which has a lot of capability, I actually created a specific LUT, okay, to be able to film whatever scenario it is. I usually will always create a LUT for the content that I'm going to create, whether it's a documentary, whether it's a B-roll, or whatever it may be. All right, I always like to create a LUT, all right, that is what's going to give the vibe of the whole product or the whole video, right? And so with that said, this here is really, everything that I need. I try not to do any sort of complicated things under DaVinci Resolve, although DaVinci Resolve has the capability of doing all kinds of color correction, anything you can think of. DaVinci Resolve has that capability. I am using DaVinci Resolve in an iPad because I want to keep everything as light as possible. And when you want to do things that are as light as possible, I only use my iPad. Okay, I'm using my iPad 10th generation. All right, I'm not even using the iPad 11. All right, I'm using the iPad 10th generation. My wife Jazz, she's got the latest one, the 11th one. Okay, because I gave her that one. All right, because she does a lot of stuff, which is great. Excuse me. I don't need it because the 10th is more than enough. And believe it or not, I don't have a big hard drive on it. I'm only using a 64 gig, okay, cellular, okay, iPad 10th generation, because everything that I have is stored here. All right, so when I go into my post-production, the only thing I do is I can do one of two things. I can airdrop my clips, all right, into the 64 gig. If I need more space, I drop it to the cloud, and I actually use the cloud as my hard drive, or I can plug this here via USB into my iPad via USB, and it acts like an external hard drive. It looks at the files and it acts like an external hard drive. That's what a lot of guys are not telling you. Okay, you don't need to buy the extra hard drive and all that stuff if you already have it. Your phone can serve as a hard drive. Depends on how you use it and how you where you store your files and all that sort of stuff. So how you manage your equipment is very important. And in this scenario, this is my workflow. Now I have, and I'll show you in the video. As a matter of fact, I'm going to record it now. All right, I'm going to record it actually on the app, and that is the app that I'm using, which is the Black Magic. See that? That is the Black Magic app. It's real simple to use. It looks very complicated, but it does everything anybody needs. So I'm going to record this manually, all right, so you guys can see what I'm talking about, all right, and I'm going to change my lens, all right, to a wider lens. Okay, here we go. All right, and let me change my white balance for a second. Let me do an auto white balance. Okay, there we go. Did an auto white balance. Okay, let me lock it. All right, and let me change my ISO a little bit. Okay, it's my ISO locked. Well, my ISO should not be locked. Okay, let me do it at here. I'm gonna do it at 400. We can do it even at 640 because this is the iPhone. 640 is fine. And let me change my shutter, okay, to a little bit more. Okay, and yep. Okay, so I changed everything. So these are my settings that I'm going to use, very simple ones, and I am going to record. What I'm looking at right now is my setup. All right, so you're looking at my setup right now. This is my keyboard, okay, that I use. I use the Logitech mouse, as you can see right there. All right, and you can see me. I'm actually recording the camera while I am recording. Okay, on the iPad, you can see the same Blackmagic app, okay, being used on the iPad, and I've got, okay, a lavalier mic that is hooked up right there. All right, and that is the only thing that I'm using. Okay, that's the only thing that I am using. All right, so it's a very simple setup, guys. It's a very, very simple setup, and it all fits in a very small case, small in this particular occasion. I'm going to record one more time. I'm using this backpack, and as you can see, that's Eve right there. Okay, you'll see it on the video that I'm recording right here. She's down there. All right, and across me is Jassy drinking her cup of tea and doing her thing, and so that's all you need to be able to record something that is simple and something that is very effective, right? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to simplify yourself. You're not trying to complicate yourself. The more complicated you try to do things, and the more technical stuff that you try to get, all right, you will find out on the long run, all right, that is going to slow you down, and it's not going to benefit you in any real way, because the stuff that is being created for this YouTube is not stuff that is going to be put on a big screen, on a motion picture or anything like that. It's a simple, content creation for YouTube and for Instagram or TikTok or Threads or whatever the case may be, right? Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna put this back together. Excuse me. Now, as you can see, I just took it out and I opened it up, and I just put this here on the bottom, as you can see right here. Okay, I just put it here. It screws on. It's real simple. It just screws on. It's the screwing type. The screw type is plasticky. It's very solid plastic. The legs are aluminum, and there you go. Okay, now I've got a tabletop tripod that I can put right there. Okay, or anywhere I want. Okay, I'm gonna put it right here anyways. All right, and it's that simple. That's how simple it is. So let me know what you think about this little setup. This is a real quick setup, which I filmed here at a Starbucks. Okay, at a Starbucks with this microphone. All right, and the reason that I use this microphone is to focus more on my voice. And this is not an expensive microphone. This is maybe like a $10 microphone. All right, you don't need an expensive microphone. Yes, these better microphones are going to sound better, but I'm not saying don't get those better microphones. I'm just saying that you really don't need it to be able to start, doing the little things that you might want to create while you're doing any content creation. So anyways, let me know what you guys think of this real simple setup. And later on in another video, I don't know when, I'll explain to you how I do my workflow as far as setting up my Blackmagic app, and also how I set up my DaVinci Resolve, and how I airdrop one file to the iPad, and how I bring it up. And I use the simple setup of DaVinci Resolve. I can get complicated with it, okay, but the more complicated you get with it, the more time it's going to take, and you're not trying to do things that are going to take too much time, because editing takes away from the fun of doing these things. What you want to do, that is the fun part, is going out and shooting and creating it, all right, not so much the editing. So anyways, one more time, let me know what you think of this, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, okay, and that way you can get to see more crazy content like this. In the meantime, stay safe, and me, Jasmine, and Eve say bye-bye.